welcome to
the project. Oh, I'm talking as well.
Yes, but I'll take it from here, Georgie. Tonight, welcome all. As Tropical Cyclone Alfred closes in, could unreleased dams make flooding worse?
Seamless. We hear from everyday Aussies about what will get their vote in the upcoming federal election.
I'll take this one, Georgie. He's behind one of the most headbanging songs of all time. Yes. We chat to Rage Against the Machines. Tom Morello.
Hell yeah, time for me finally. Plus, the government has been slammed for spending big on drama classes for staff that only a handful attended. Because I always say if there's something we need more of in politics, it's drama.
Yeah.
Canberra is practically the Bell Theatre.
The Globe.
Shakespeare.
You literally asked us what the name of Shakespeare's theatre was.
Okay, you both spoke at the wrong time as well, all right?
Seamless. Let's start again.
We're live from the lands of the cooler nations tonight with Kate Labrook. I'm sorry.
There is Bell Shakespeare.
That's
a great Australian theatre company.
Yeah.
Also, I've written the Globe right here. I just have it written down as well.
The only way is up. Okay, let's get on with the rest of the show. And tonight, Queensland is staring down the barrel of a 1 in 50-year cyclone as Alfred turns for the coast. But as locals prepare for impact, there are concerns authorities aren't doing enough when it comes to the state's water catchments.
Supermarkets stripped bare. Residents readying for the worst. Queensland State Premier today issuing a stark warning as Cyclone Alfred builds.
It is serious and it is happening, and we want Queenslanders to be prepared.
The Category 2 cyclone is set to make landfall on Thursday night, on track to cross between the Sunshine Coast and Brisbane. The Bureau of Meteorology predicting rainfall up to 700 millimetres, with severe winds expected to hit 120 kilometres per hour.
We are all bracing for heavy weather. We are prepared for the worst, but we hope for the best.
Alfred is already churning up waterways from southern Queensland to northern New South Wales. Waves of up to 10 metres recorded overnight, forcing cruise ships to take cover.
The waves were pretty big. The motion of the ocean was just...
To be honest, I didn't really notice. I was too busy partying.
And Brisbane city cats craned from the water. But as the state prepares for impact, attention is turning to the region's dams, with concerns dam operators aren't being proactive enough.
As long as they manage the Ivanhoe Dam properly, then hopefully we'll be okay.
We want to be sure that the dam operators will release water if they need to release water.
Queenslanders understandably nervous after a royal commission into the deadly 2011 floods found the impact could have been reduced if authorities had released the dam water earlier.
Not too much. It's okay.
This time round, southeast Queensland's water catchments are sitting at levels upwards of 80%. Ivanhoe at 86%, the Gold Coast's Hines Dam at 99.4%. Authorities insisting they're following to the letter the guidelines created in the wake of the 2011 floods.
They're the qualified people to do that, and they have to make that call. The one non-negotiable for me is that they communicate to Queenslanders what that looks like.
Well, Emma Thomas is SEQ Water's CEO. Emma, thank you for joining us. You're saying that you won't release water from the dams until the rain starts. Why is that?
I think we're all preparing for Tropical Cyclone Alfred crossing our coast late Thursday or early Friday morning. What's not clear at the moment is where that rainfall will occur and where exactly it will cross on the coast. And so with the storm surges that you've just heard in the bit before I came on, we have significant storm surges hitting our coast currently. We have potential for very significant localised rainfall into our rivers. So it's important to understand exactly what the system's doing before we add further water into the mix of that downstream in the Brisbane River.
Is there not a danger, though, that there'll be so much rain in this event that you could be forced to release water as the cyclone is still happening anyway?
I think one thing's for certain is that we're forecasting very significant rainfalls across southeast Queensland. Those rainfalls could occur anywhere from up at north Tewantin all the way through to the Gold Coast and the border between the Gold Coast and New South Wales. So our catchments fill in different ways. The Ivanhoe Dam, although we're saying it's 86%, it also has capacity of another 2/3, which is flood mitigation storage. If we have 100 million megalitres today, and a megalitre is the same as what takes up an Olympic-sized swimming pool, so we have 1 million megalitres in our dam today. We have further flood storage of 2 million megalitres on top of that that can fill in that dam.
Emma, you say you're applying the guidelines in the Flood Operations Manual. Do they cover cyclones?
The Flood Operations Manual is there to cover all extreme events. It's not specific to a particular type of weather pattern, but what it covers is extreme events that involve a lot of water and wind. So whilst cyclones are not named specifically, the extreme events are covered by that Flood Operations Manual.
Emma, there's a couple of huge days coming up. We appreciate your time.
It's going to be a big time, but thank you to everyone.
All the best with it. Well, with the PM tip to call an election this weekend, we hit the streets and asked voters across Australia, from the regions to the cities, what issues they care about this election. We offered no hints, no prompts, and this was the result.
I'd rather vote for no one because our government's just...
The question?
Issues on your mind coming into this election?
The major issue is the crime.
The answers as diverse as the areas we visited.
Doctors haven't been free for a while and it's pretty hard to find one that's bulk billed.
I think population control is a big one.
People that pay a lot of money in HECS debt now.
We feel very unsafe.
There's 5 cars broken into yesterday.
All over, I think we're a pretty lucky country and I think they're doing a pretty good job.
Albo's promising all these new medical centres. Why didn't he do them while he's in government? He's been in for years and they haven't done anything at all.
But the issues that kept cropping up again and again...
The cost of living.
Cost of living's the big one.
For more than 80% of Aussies, cost of living is the #1 issue influencing their vote.
Electricity keeps skyrocketing, like even petrol, it's so hard for young couples like us.
There is a real struggle in the air.
I don't think either side can do much about it right now. World politics, war, it makes it all very difficult.
Prices are going up, our wages are staying the same.
I think the rental crisis is the #1 thing for me. Affordability of housing.
For more than half of Aussies, housing and rental affordability is the issue that matters most.
Build the roads and the houses, have more deposit schemes, more first home buyer grants.
What's really going to make a difference is actually putting the right people in power who have us at the forefront of their minds.
Rent has risen up double.
The Albanese government hasn't given us what we needed. We've been screaming for ages that we need a rental cap. You see the lines at inspections and you're like, this is crazy. There's 30 people for this 2-bedroom apartment.
And you shared so many other worries with us too, like addressing climate change.
Peter Dutton's plan to install nuclear power is a completely horrible retrogressive idea.
Anthony Albanese, he definitely could be doing a lot more.
If we don't deal with climate change, we're going to be a lot worse off.
And the impact of US President Donald Trump.
Australia is strong enough to stand on its own, but at the end of the day, we do get affected by the big countries.
I just spoke to him, very fine man.
The US President agreed that an exemption was under consideration.
I'm scared that it's a likelihood that Australia will turn into a mini America.
Trump should be our Prime Minister. But yeah, I don't think these two have cut it.
We're following way too close to America and it's a really, really bad train to be on.
So is Australia on the right track?
I think we've turned towards the right direction.
If anything, I think it's gotten worse. I don't think Albanese's done much either to improve the country.
It's doing a lot better than most of the other countries, especially during the issues we've been facing with inflation.
They're not helping us out. They're stuffing us up.
For this election, I'll vote differently.
Going all right, I suppose.
I suppose, that's telling.
That's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
To watch that all day, and the political parties will be and will end up as they are, none the wiser.
yeah. Well, you look at that and you go, how do you actually govern for an electorate that's got such diverse interests, such diverse positions on things? I don't know. I find it a really tricky race to call for that reason, because things are very localised. Like if you did that Vox Pop in Western Australia, those were all East Coast. Totally different situation.
What would they be like?
Yeah, what would they say?
Dig more shit out of the ground. We'll be fine.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And it would work, by the way.
Well, it might.
In 2 hours, they are going to love that joke. They are going to get a real kick out of that. 3 hours, sorry. Yeah, right.
And the thing I did not foresee, though, was the focus on Trump.
Yes, and how that's now come into it.
Do you think that would actually change votes, like a significant number of votes?
What do you mean? Like his
I don't
influence.
know. Yeah, well, do you know, just the worry about him, because I would have thought there'd be a lot of people who watch American politics as entertainment, and then it happens.
But I think that is that as well.
Do you?
Yeah, because I think that's as much a product of, no matter what's happening in America, it's far more interesting than what's going on here.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll be talking about Trump later in the show. Rest assured, we can't avoid it. We are going to a break. We'll see you very soon.
Now, Aussie tennis legends Ash Barty and Yvonne Goolagong-Cawley are being immortalised by Mattel as one-of-a-kind Barbie dolls. The dolls have been created to help mark International Women's Day, recognising the collective strength of women and the power of real friendship.
I think the first reaction was almost disbelief. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think that I would be a Barbie myself.
When I first heard about it, I thought, that is so cool. It's just absolutely amazing. I just love it. I can't believe it's happened.
I think that is wonderful, but why is Yvonne's Barbie? It looks like she's at a presentation ceremony rather than playing. I want to see her in a tennis fight.
I assume she was. Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
But there might be different versions of Barbie. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so that could be presentation after the victory Barbie.
Well, yeah, she's holding a trophy.
Yeah, so
but I want her in a full tennis outfit.
Take the trophy out, put in a tennis racket, she's playing.
You're right, you're fine. All right, let's see what else.
Remember, you change their clothes.
You're in control, Tony.
Let's see what else is making news around the world.
Global stocks have taken a hit after Donald Trump's 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada came into effect this afternoon.
No room left for Mexico or for Canada. No, the tariffs, they're all set.
The move is likely to spark an all-out continental trade war.
If Trump is imposing tariffs, we're ready. We are ready with $155 billion worth of tariffs.
A health setback for Pope Francis as he battles double pneumonia. The 88-year-old suffered 2 episodes of acute respiratory failure. Doctors had to intervene to clear his airways. He's now back on oxygen to help him breathe. The Vatican says his prognosis remains, quote, guarded, suggesting the pontiff isn't out of danger. And rising egg prices have sparked a new business trend in the US, chicken rentals. You can hire up to 4 hens for 6 months for about $965.
Provide all the feed you need, books, tutorials, phone support, everything.
The return on 2 hens is about a dozen eggs a week. But beware, many renters get so attached to their chickens, they end up keeping them.
All right, who's had trouble buying eggs?
Me. I went to 3 stores this morning trying to find them.
Have you been trying as well?
I'm out there all the time trying. That wasn't a joke. I don't know why.
It's such a strange. Everything about you was so strange.
You said that as though you're like getting cast in a new show called Egg Hunter.
Yeah. I'm out on the streets. I'm looking. That's a good show. Let's talk to a TV.
Anyway, I am thinking more and more about chickens because it's so hard to get eggs. Well, okay, can I be full?
Yes, you can.
I love a conspircy theory.
Okay.
And we know 6 months they all prove to be true.
That's not true. No, we don't.
Moon landing. Okay. But they're coming for the chickens the way they came for us during the pandemic.
Right, okay.
Did that go to air?
Okay. Someone in my ear is telling me to take over right now. And you know the show's going bad when I'm the one that has to take over. Guys, let's go to Hoppers Crossing in Victoria. Nick Cody territory, by the way.
It is.
A soccer club was robbed overnight, which is horrifying.
Oh, that's what Cody's been up to.
This is you taking over.
Now what leads the problem? What is going on?
It's going really well.
Okay, naturally, the club president had a fun message for the thieves, but boy, it took a real dark turn.
Find something else to do, guys. There's plenty of stuff to do. I'm sure that they could play solitaire on their phones or something like that. And I hope you choke on the Gatorade you took.
Enjoy playing solitaire in heaven, scumbag. Cop that, huh?
Project coming up after this.
guys, I spend my days trying to get us sponsors on this show.
Kate's right. Everything about you is so strange.
I excel at sales, is all I'm saying. Because as I always say, good independent journalism needs the backing of big business. It's important. Also, I kind of want an air hockey table for the office. Okay. But in huge news, I've landed a big client again, Whiskers. And I've got another big investigation. Cats, terrific pets or absolute pretenders? Cats, they're no help around the office, and they barely do any housework. So why are Aussies so obsessed with having these total and complete scallywags as pets? All right, Chloe, are cats the best pets?
Well, I guess I have to say yes because I work at a cat shelter.
It would be controversial if you said no.
Yes, I think it would be.
What are the big selling points?
They're such independent and inquisitive animals.
True.
They are very loyal.
Why are cats better than dogs then?
Well, they're not going to chew up your shoes.
Okay, that's good.
They're not as loud.
Yes.
I find them to be more affectionate sometimes.
Than dogs?
Yes.
Really?
It does depend on the cat.
What about, I've seen the dynamic when there would be dogs and cats living in the same house and the cat is in charge.
Yes.
Does that happen?
Yes, they take control. They're very territorial animals. They don't like being told what to do, especially by dogs.
Right. What are you looking for someone to adopt a cat? What about like an evil supervillain looking to take over the world and to pat the cat as it's kind of plotting global downfall? Is that a bad cat owner?
I mean, no, as long as they're taking care of the cat, then I think it's fine.
It's okay, okay. They're very cute, aren't they? Maybe I'll take one. Is that how it works?
I think you should take 10.
Take 10?
Did you take 10?
Yes, yeah. A bit of a problem at my house right now. But the good people at Whiskers have got me sorted, so
Yes,
it's all fine.
very good, very good. To other news, and the Albanese government is facing backlash for spending over $25,000 on drama lessons for 13 senior staff from Services Australia, which runs Centrelink and Medicare. Apparently the purpose of their 9-day NIDA course was to learn how to, quote, communicate with empathy. Liberal Senator Claire Chandler called the spending, quote, farcical and wasteful.
Oh, dear God, please let there be a video of the classes.
Just trying to teach them empathy as they deny your concession card?
Yeah, correct. Or, prithee, madam, this is how they'll be now when you go into Centrelink. Prithee, madam, I do believe thou needest some help with one's rental assistance.
Is that from the Bell Theatre?
I think it is.
But it's just so crazy. I actually love it.
I agree.
Do you think it could work?
I don't think. Drama lessons, just let it fly. These people are going through something, if you ask me. Anyone that goes to drama lessons, they're at rock bottom in their life. They're either trying to be an actor, which is rock bottom, or they're, trying to be someone else.
And not themselves.
Wow.
Exactly.
You went to drama class, didn't you?
I studied drama. And I also have been studying empathy my whole life. It's called being alive.
Well, it's the feud that today reached breaking point. Donald Trump halting all military aid to Ukraine after his explosive clash with President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. The move sparking questions around how long the country can hang on without America's help.
Billions of dollars in aid on hold.
President Trump has been clear that he is focused on peace. We are pausing and reviewing our aid to ensure that it is contributing to a solution.
Well, I just think he should be more appreciative because this country has stuck with them through thick and thin.
President Trump today pulling the plug on America's military aid to Ukraine, days after a fiery clash with Volodymyr Zelenskyy in the Oval Office.
You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III.
The White House confirming all US military equipment not currently in Ukraine will be halted, including weapons currently in transit on aircrafts and ships.
The Ukrainians on the battlefield are immediately going to have to start rationing things like artillery, ammunition and missiles. This will have an immediate impact on Ukraine's ability to defend itself.
The US currently makes up almost half of all military support sent to Ukraine, spending around $108 billion since the war broke out. America's contributions making up around 40% of Ukraine's arsenal.
They're going to be losing, probably just as importantly as ammunition, is intelligence. The Ukrainians are getting F-16 fighter planes from European partners, but the US plays an important role in training the pilots, limiting the Ukrainians' ability to use those to defend themselves.
Questions now turning to whether Europe can bridge the gap.
We've given them much more than Europe, and I'm not knocking Europe. I'm saying that they were a lot smarter than Joe Biden.
The Europeans have reaffirmed their will and their intent to help the Ukrainians, but there's limits on how much you can do of that. Otherwise, you're not going to have anything left yourselves.
Ukraine, having previously warned the country would only survive 6 months without US aid.
Of course, in all the difficult situations, you have a chance. But we will have low chance to survive without support of the United States.
Well, here to try and help us make sense of it all once again is Steve Clemens. Steve, is there any indication on when the aid might resume?
Well, it's very tough to tell right now. Originally, Donald Trump wanted an apology from Zelenskyy and some appreciation, but this seems a little bit different. This seems like the president has decided that Zelenskyy doesn't want peace, and we're shipping him these weapons from the United States. And so I think what they're planning to do is to see which weapon systems are helping Zelenskyy stay at war and to kind of cut those off. So they may never get resumed.
There also seems to be a weird amount of focus on the fact that he wore a T-shirt rather than a suit.
Yeah.
Is it possible that American foreign policy has flipped on its head over attire?
I think getting Zelenskyy to wear a suit, which they did ask him to do, is a way of demeaning him. Remember, look at Elon Musk. He's sitting there with a hat and this kind of, MAGA goth thing going on, and he's with a black T-shirt and outfit. So it doesn't count for Elon Musk because he's a peer. But when it comes to Zelenskyy, they wanted him to conform to what the president wanted.
If this plays out in the way that it seems to be heading, and Russia ends up winning this war or getting what they want out of Ukraine, Ukraine loses, it's a terrible story for them. Is it a terrible story for Trump?
Right now, Trump seems to be withdrawing from a lot of America's commitments around the world. And a lot of his base want that. They see that being engaged in world affairs has worked out better for China than it has for their kitchen table. They see a kind of resentment that America's played this role as global cop, and they haven't done very well by it. So Trump oddly wins with his base for this. What begins to happen, though, is when prices go up, when you have trade wars, and you may have many more conflicts, including in Eastern Europe if Russia continues its aggressive campaigns to other countries, then I think Donald Trump is going to get real backlash because his base is only one portion of the American public, and I think the rest are going to say, what in the heck happened to America's place in the world?
Steve, MAGA goth, you've got my Halloween outfit sorted. But I think there's a potential we're looking at this the whole wrong way, and there's another theory that explains what Trump's doing. I'm quite big in some Reddit forums. Do you think that Donald Trump could be a secret Soviet spy?
Oh.
Look, that is really going around the internet,
Absolutely.
and I think we've been around this corner. Until I see some evidence, I just don't see it. Now, he may be acting like one, he may want to be one, but I've not seen any evidence of that. I mean, was he a secret agent of North Korea, too? He just likes strong men who run countries roughly. And I think that's part of Donald Trump's makeup.
All right.
Wow,
You okay with that?
A roughly run country. Sign me up.
Steve, sorry about that. Thank you very much for your time.
I'm sorry, Steve.
Thank you.
Sorry, Steve. At the end, yeah. Okay, guys, today WA Premier Roger Cook took part in a little Q&A session where he managed to have a bit of fun, but more importantly, still found the time to absolutely tank our relationship with the US.
Please finish my sentence. John Quigley and mobile phones
should never be together.
Jeff Parry is
a great long-distance runner.
Okay. JD Vance is a
knob.
Now, I actually have a response here from JD Vance. I sent him a text, we're close, and he said, who are you and what is Perth? So That's kind of odd, isn't it?
Let's get some more of today's top stories. And Tropical Cyclone Alfred is hurtling towards the Queensland coast. The Category 2 storm is expected to make landfall between Brisbane and the Sunshine Coast Thursday night or Friday morning. Northern New South Wales also remains on alert as a result. The AFL has postponed both opening round matches in Queensland this weekend. The NRL has also moved its Friday night game to Sydney. Residents are being urged to make preparations. Evacuations are already underway at places like Bribie Island.
It is a really rare event for southeast Queensland, but it is serious and it is happening, and we want Queenslanders to be prepared.
Former Australian of the Year Professor Richard Scolyer has thanked everyone for their well wishes as he recovers from complex exploratory brain surgery. The operation was scheduled after a recent scan showed changes in his condition. The 58-year-old was diagnosed with a highly aggressive and incurable tumour almost 2 years ago.
Oh, gosh.
I know.
Don't we just wish him well?
Really, I know. He's an ornament to the country.
He really is. He really is. Our thoughts are with him. And footage of one of King Charles's security guards has gone viral after they were seen keeping their arms suspiciously still. Now, that prompted the question online, are his arms fake? Some social media users suggested they were, and his real arms were under the jacket holding a gun. It's a theory that was first surfaced back in 2022. I am here to disband it, Kate Langbrook. You can see his hand move. If we roll back the tape, there is a particular moment where you can see... Here, look at the wedding finger and the ring finger on the left hand. Here we go.
All right.
The ring finger and the pinky finger, I should say. Okay, it's going to move. It's going to move. It might move. Okay, well, we didn't get it moving, but... There it was.
All right.
It was there.
All right, I've done a deep dive on this. Of course I have. And so the thinking is that his hands are under his jacket on his gun.
And they've got like some
And they just had that so as not to alarm the public.
Yes.
Because if people were walking around with... Right,
but his hand was moving, so it's his hand.
But apparently animatronics.
No.
In the fake hand.
No.
But also... Georgie Tunney, people believe all sorts of things. Like if you look at the comments on the project socials, people are always like accusing Waleed of having fake hands.
What?
Yes.
No, that's I'm so sick of it. What? This is serious for me. This is just who I am. I think, no, it sounds far worse. His situation.
I don't see it personally, is all I'm saying.
It's just...
Well, we've got to take a break. We'll be back. We'll be back with whatever this is soon.
Everything back to normal. Welcome to the project.
Now to some exciting celebrity news. And Peppa Pig's mum has dropped a big bombshell.
We're having another baby!
Whoa! The arrival of Mummy Pig's third piglet will be the family's first big shake-up in the show's history.
Here with her thoughts is pig midwife. Let that image sink in. Our kids' TV expert and oracle of everything, Mel Buttle. Wow. What a CV you have. What was your first thought when you heard the news, Mel?
I wondered if Mummy Pig did a maternity shoot because they're always tasteful and classy. I wondered if maybe we saw Mummy Pig in a flower crown by the sea while Daddy Pig holds her tummy from behind. And hey, Mummy Pig, make sure you please post all of those pics of your shoot all over Facebook because everyone from work really does want to see you almost nude wearing a flower crown on the Bondi headland.
I don't know if she's going to have time for any more photo shoots, Mel, because 3 kids, it's a lot. What does that news mean for Peppa's parents?
Well, Mummy Pig's life is about to get harder. Let's hope she's got a good support network. Otherwise, Mummy Pig might find herself having a big cry in Kmart and not quite knowing why. It takes a village. As we all know, it takes a village to raise a child. Now, I don't know what it takes to raise a pig. Probably a semi-outdoor pen, farrowing crates, and a diet suitable for a monogastric omnivore. And just Well, I've got you guys. Hey, this is a message for Daddy Pig. Hey, Daddy Pig, Mummy Pig is in her 3rd trimester and has bad hormonal moods. So I know it's hard, Daddy Pig, but please don't go out and buy a packet of smokes.
Mel, you seem to know a lot about pigs, by the way.
Your respect means the world to me, Sam. All this talk of pig biology has made me realise something far more important, though. Think about it. Pigs are made of bacon. They carry eggs for reproduction. They produce milk to feed their offspring. So if science could somehow put an orange juice tap on their back and teach them how to press a toaster lever, we might be looking at the perfect breakfast animal.
Hey, Mel, do you think parents are concerned they'll have to explain how Mummy Pig got pregnant?
Of course people are worried that this will lead to them having to explain sex to their children. And it'll be awkward. Just make something up. Just tell them the pork stalk came. Or just say, we're not sure, but it was probably piggy style. Now, my kid will not be watching this episode of Peppa Pig. I will not explain the miracle of childbirth to my toddler. He can learn the old-fashioned way, the way I learned, which was stumbling across a late-night foreign film on SBS.
Is this a part of a trend in kids' TV, though? Like they want to tackle bigger issues, Mel?
Yeah, and I want to say, Waleed, why can't we just let kids shows be kids shows? There was none of this when I was little. You may remember Round the Twist. Now, that's a great show. And that's what kids shows should be like. They would have episodes that were like, oh, there's a ghost in the toilet and it's spraying poo everywhere. Thank you.
Yes.
No messages, no learning.
Yes.
Yeah. Kids' TV shows should look like a perimenopausal night terror. Now, kids' shows as well, they're supposed to be a way for kids to relax and wind down for a minute, not for kids to be reminded that mum and dad are still going out at hammer and tong in the other room, probably while you're watching one of those very shows, kids.
Oh, you're so wise, Mel, so wise. Thank you as always.
Thank you.
Secret sound, I'm afraid. All right, I'm not exaggerating when I say our next guest is one of the greatest guitarists of all time.
And now you do what they told you. And now you do what they told you.
No one plays guitar like Tom Morello. He took the world by storm as part of Rage Against the Machine before teaming up with Chris Cornell in Audio Slave. He's a lifelong activist with a career boasting Grammys, time in Bruce Springsteen's band, and an induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Can music change the world? The whole aim is to change the world, or at a bare minimum, to stir up a shitload of trouble.
Now, the genre-defying and generation-defining guitarist is gearing up to make some noise down under.
Yeah! Oh, yeah.
Would you please welcome Tom Morello? Oh, hello, sir. It's so wonderful to have you. You're coming back to Australia for Blues Fest. You've done it before. Why do you want to do it again?
Well, some of my favorite shows over the last 30 years have been in Australia, from playing with Rage Against the Machine, Audio Slave, The Night Watchman, even Bruce Springsteen and Prophets of Rage. And I've always endeavored at my shows to try to play as if everyone's soul in the room is at stake. And I've always felt that the Australian crowds have responded.
Responded they have. I'm not sure if you're aware of your impact in Australia, because when I was growing up, I'm going to put the responsibility on you. You single-handedly have ruined so many house parties because of like guys pulling out an acoustic guitar, putting it in drop D and having a crack at killing in the name.
Well, you know, I would apologize, but you're going to have to take some responsibility for that yourself.
Yeah, okay. It was me, by the way. I need to make that clear.
Yeah. No, but it is such an irresistible riff. This is part of the problem. You have written some of the great riffs, and I feel like you are the person to ask, actually, including those riffs. What do you think is the greatest riff of all time?
Oh, that's a bit of a stumper right there. I mean, certainly I say it would have to be somewhere in the catalog, Satisfaction notwithstanding, somewhere in the catalog of Black Sabbath or Led Zeppelin. And I think that between those two bands, they cover probably 99% of the greatest riffs of all time.
That's quite a duopoly. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Surely Rage is in there somewhere. I mean, anyone growing up in the 90s
I remember when Rage Against the Machine first came out, it was just mind-blowing. It was like the guitar was incredible. What is this? Is it rock? Is it metal? It's not quite hip-hop. There's some of that in there. It was just extraordinary. What do you think it was that made that band such a force?
We were telling the truth. I think that's what made that band such a force. You know, on the one hand, if you tell the truth without a great soundtrack, you might not get heard. And so it also happened to be a very dynamic rock and roll band, combining punk and metal and hip hop in a way with a multi-ethnic band. Nobody had really sort of seen a band that looked like that before or sounded that way. But I think that the reason why that band still lives on in people's hearts is because we were unapologetically telling the truth as we saw it.
Well, there's a lot happening in the world now. If Rage Against the Machine were forming today, what song would they write?
Wow.
If Rage Against the Machine were forming today, they would never get on TV, would be my guess. But, and they could probably just sort of rewrite the entire catalog and it would have application.
Well, the way that I've connected with you, Tom, is through your mother. You always thank her during your acceptance speeches, and I have been stalking you, and judging by this picture here, it's her with a mighty fine-looking guitar. She does actually look like an amazing guitarist. Tell us about her.
Well, she's inspirational in a lot of ways. My mom is 101 years old.
What?
And that's her... The record she got from Beyonce. This is on the picket line with my mom right there. Yeah, she was very much continues to be an inspiration for, you know, everything that I do. And back then, you know, when my noisy, lousy high school punk rock band, she was the only basement that we could practice in town. And now she lives next door to me and my studio is in her basement. So once again, I'm playing in her basement.
Can she shred?
No, but she does have some caustic reviews if she doesn't like something she's hearing.
Yeah, does she, like, what's her thing? She want it to be heavier? Does she need more notes?
My mom, you know, she enjoys her hip hop. It's funny, like she, you know, in the 80s and 90s, my mom ran an organization called Parents for Rock and Rap, which was an anti-censorship organization. So she became friends with, like, you know, Ice-T of Body Count and Cypress Hill and guys like that. So she's she's kind of a hip-hop head.
Wow. I think she may be the coolest person I've ever heard of with respect to you, Tom.
Suddenly seeing her hold up your Beyonce album seems pretty straight.
Yeah, it seems normal.
For you, I mean, not many people can say they have their own character on Guitar Hero. I'd be interested. Guitarists tend not to play Guitar Hero, but when you have your own character, are you tempted to battle yourself?
Well, first of all, that game changed my life for good and for ill, because, you know, from the day that it came out, walking down the street or going to the grocery store, there would always be some jackass who'd be like, "I kicked your ass in Guitar Hero." I'm like, "You're a grown man and it's a video game, so just take it easy. 1 second." But I did have the game at my house here. I'm not a very good video game player, but kids could come to my house and beat me in the game and beat me in real life all at the same time. So that was sort of my gift back to them.
Oh, what a story. Tickets for Blues Fest and for Tom's shows are available now. The link is on our website. In the meantime, would you please thank the always wonderful Tom Morello?
Thanks very much for having me. Very much looking forward to seeing you.
Incredible. Okay, we've got to take a break. We'll be right back. Story that'll have you breaking out in a cold sweat.
I don't know if I can explain the shame of being at a boat ramp, trying to get a boat in the water when you don't know what you're doing. Yeah? It's kind of like, you know how sometimes you've got to do a reverse parallel, but it's in front of a cafe? Yeah? Imagine that cafe is filled with all dads. And it's all dads that have had daughters, but they wanted sons.
Would you please welcome Geraldine Hickey? Hello, mate. I'm assuming that happened to you. How did that story end?
I got the tinny in, a few scrapes on the side, but we got it in. We couldn't start it though, but it was fine.
So did you just pull it back out?
Yeah, no, we got someone else to help us, and then
nice.
went up and got it back out, and it's been there for 5 years.
Now, Jez, it's good to see you. I've been watching you. You're in the jungle,
Yes.
and now you're out, and you're straight into the Adelaide Fringe.
Mate, it was like one day. The day after I went straight into Adelaide Fringe, it was like from one jungle to another. It was a nice ease my way back in, and it was great. It was kind of like this. I was, kind of processing the whole experience on stage every night.
Right.
Just been like, does anyone have any questions about the retreat I've just been on?
Was it a mad culture clash?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, for sure. But it was, but I did great work on the show. The audiences in Adelaide were terrific.
They're good people.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the jungle.
Yeah, I don't know what I was talking about.
Well, the stand-up show is called Meander.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like a meander?
I love a meander. Love a meander. Like a meander is like those long walks where you just go. There's no plan where you're going. What's the destination? I don't know. We just what's down this path. Let's see.
So that's the definitive thing with a meander, is you can't have any purpose.
Yeah, no purpose. Like in the show, where's the show going to end up? Is there a purpose of the show?
Well, we hope so. I mean, that's very much in your hands.
That's a strange way to plug the show, Jez.
I know, but no, in the beginning it was like, what is this show? And there is
it's a meandering show.
There's a destination.
But have you ever, so the danger if you're not walking with purpose, which we mostly do in our modern times, is that you can wander too far or get lost or end up too far from home.
All the time. All the time. Because I've lost a bit of weight over the years and over the last few years, and people are like, oh, what's your secret? And I'm like, it's called getting lost. I would plan for a 20-minute jog and end up doing 11K in...
Well, I remember we went to Norfolk Island last year and did stand-up as part of the comedy festival.
Yes.
And you were like, I'm going for a walk in the morning, and then you just didn't come back. I was like, do you remember when Jez was part of the tour?
I walked from one end to the other. From the top of Norfolk Island down to the bottom. It was because you can. Why not?
What are
There's
you
a path.
thinking about on that?
Oh,
journey?
Lots of things, like where does this path go?
Hey, you obviously love nature.
Yes, big fan.
But looking at your poster, you seem to love it more than most people.
I know.
Was that just something you had lying around?
I wish. I actually, borrowed that. That's called a ghillie suit. And it's actually like a lot...
An army thing?
Yeah, or maybe for nature lovers that just want to be amongst it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm there. Am I? Ooh, here I am. But and it's actually it looks hot, but it's not. It's very cool, nice and cool.
Really?
Yeah.
So is that how you meander?
Get in a suit and hope for the best. I don't know. Just look cool.
You weren't lying when you said you love nature. You love birds. Now you've got your bird calendar, which which I think we've got. Well, we do. I didn't get a copy, but that's cool.
You can have that. That's yours.
Oh, thanks,
there
Jen.
you go.
Now I've been with you. This has been going great guns. I've been with you at gigs, and then you run out after the show and sell it to the audience.
Yes.
What is it? What's the mindset going when you're performing to so many people in that performer's mindset, and then immediately you're a small business owner at a market?
Just a way to meet everybody, and I can, sign it. And I just had leftovers last year, so that's why I was selling them. But this is, if you want to buy one now, you can go to we'll send it to you.
And they're your photographs.
And they're my photos. I took all the photos. And that was at Norfolk Island.
That was the place.
There you go, the fruits of meandering.
Yes,
Works very well.
exactly.
Tickets to see Geraldine perform right across the country on sale right now. Would you please thank Geraldine Hickey?